So I'm going to start. Anybody that wants to, give a comment or say something, please feel free. The floor is open. We're doing this kind of to make it into like a discussion more than like a speech. I'm not really much of a speech giver. So I just want to kind of bring an idea to the table, but we're open to any other ideas anybody else wants to discuss. So the question that, so to speak, we want to ask today is, why are we celebrating Passover today when we left Egypt so many years ago? What does it have to do with us in 2021? Kind of what's the point of it? So these are some of my thoughts and some of the thoughts that kind of I've seen written in different rabbinical commentaries. So the first thing we have to understand is that we don't just celebrate something that happened 3,500 years ago without it having some sort of impact on our lives today. That's kind of a given. There's so many kind of events that happened throughout Jewish history that we don't celebrate. So if we're celebrating something, on the scale, it has to be significant enough for us to it has to mean something to us today, not just like an old celebration. There has to be some thought, what's happening today in our time that we need, so to speak, Passover, and what are we supposed to think about? And also, another thing that we kind of do over Passover is, besides eating the matzah, is we say over like Manashtana, and we say over different questions, and we discuss different concepts. So kind of our whole tradition is based on, questions more than just like ideas. We have a lot of questions, and some of the questions we stay with forever, and some of them we could answer. And I guess that's kind of the beautiful thing about, what we celebrate, is that we're always kind of discovering, and we're also trying to learn new things all the time. And another thing we kind of also have to remember is that, although we think that if we wouldn't have left we wouldn't have left Egypt so many years ago, we would have still been slaves. I'm not sure if that is like kind of the point of what we're celebrating, because I think slavery, has been gone for such a long time that we probably would have been freed or done something to leave Egypt, between now and then. So we're kind of celebrating more than just the leaving of Egypt. So I kind of thought that maybe the purpose of, the whole Passover celebration is that God wanted to take us out of Egypt, not to just free us from slavery, but he wanted to create the Jewish nation. He wanted to make us special to him, and then kind of do something that on a scale that would, so to speak, make us remember for the rest of our lives such a, awesome event. And it wasn't just like a remote, it wasn't like a revelation to a single person. It was a revelation to the entire nation. It was kind of, all the miracles that happened, the splitting of the sea, and all those wonderful things were kind of to bring out the point that, God, so to speak, runs the world, and we are his chosen nation. We're not just like, a random nation in the world, with a bunch of 613 commandments and a bunch of prohibitions and difficulties. So he kind of wanted to show us that he's taking us out of Egypt, and to kind of, he wanted us to celebrate that becoming of a nation. And then kind of to get into why he wanted us to make us into a nation was not because we necessarily deserved it. I don't know at that time if we were so deserving, but because he made a promise to our forefathers that he would, take us out of Egypt, because they were deserving of it. And it kind of brings into us this kind of experience that we're connected to our previous, to our ancestors. We're not just like, born in 2021 and we have no relationship to like we're just dropped into this world with a bunch of headache, and I got to do my job now, and I got to have this and do that. It's more of our connection to the previous, to a previous, so to speak, being or purpose. So, kind of discussing that a little bit deeper is, our relationship to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which in every Jew, we, so to speak, carry on their soul and their purpose. And there's a lot of discussion into exactly what that means for us. And, I don't know if we should get into it today, but it's kind of, the more we really analyze, so to speak, that intrinsic value in us from our ancestors, something that not necessarily a non-Jew would have, that, so to speak, that spark or that ability, or whatever, that means to everybody, but kind of connecting ourselves to a previous, value system or a previous, something more than just ourselves, in this world. It gives us a little bit more appreciation for what we can accomplish and what we're supposed to be feeling and how we're supposed to experience the world and our relationship, with the world and God and what's happening around us, and that we don't live in kind of like a bubble. It's kind of to take a more of a universal and a macro view of the world from kind of a higher perspective and a previous perspective. And, kind of understanding that, once God took us out of Egypt, what we should feel, like the celebratory and joyous experience we should feel. Like sometimes we kind of go through Passover after Passover and it's like monotonous and there's no really meaning to us, but, kind of appreciating that there's something, greater than us that loves us dearly. And if we would just open our minds to it and our eyes to it, we would actually experience it. It's something that's there, ready for us to take it. Sometimes we kind of hide under our blankets and we're like, oh, we don't want to experience this experience. It's, it kind of, it's weird or whatever it is. But I think once we kind of understand the whole Passover celebration in the terms of, God choosing us as a nation, and he wants us to be special to him and making us, celebrate that, it kind of gives us a feeling of appreciation, number one, and also that we're loved and we're special to him. We're not just, we don't have these difficulties in life just because, there's a higher meaning and there's a purpose and there's a connection to us, and we kind of have to, listen to what he's telling us and kind of open our eyes and pay attention to that love from him. And then, kind of leaving us with open to discuss is, all the questions that we have in terms of the weird traditions that we do on Passover. What does that have to do with, experiencing that love and, eating matzah? I mean, matzah is pretty tough. It's not the most delicious type of food, but, why do we do those funny things and kind of getting into that discussion? What exactly, we eat also bitter herbs and we eat, foods that may not taste so delicious. So what are, if this is all about a love experience, it's kind of a weird way to go on a date with God and serve, bitter herbs. So, it kind of opens up a lot of questions in terms of, what is really the purpose of this and why do we have to experience it in such an interesting way, and why are we purposely asking so many questions as if it's there's a meaning just to asking questions, and that's kind of leaves a lot to discuss and a lot to kind of think about. And I would kind of want to leave the floor open to anybody to share their input or ideas, what they think this means to them, and kind of share some thoughts. Anybody kind of want to share some ideas or? So I guess we'll reconvene, maybe next week or something. We'll try to kind of take some comments or suggestions from everybody. And thank you everybody for joining. It was very nice for you to take 15 minutes out of your day. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel, for inviting me. I don't know if you guys do this often, but this is my first time, so thank you.
Yeah, we just started this week, so it's the first time for everybody.
Got you. Thank you so much for inviting me. Not
Thank
only
you.
have I been listening to you, but my dog was listening, and she's actually smiling, just so you could see. Yeah, so we enjoyed it.
Okay, good. Perfect. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Have a good one.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Nice seeing you. Bye.